What is up, guys? It's Matt. I am a compulsive gambler in recovery, and I am your mind and movement mentor here to help. So today I want to talk about how and why self-development or personal development can help with gambling addiction. Well, it helped me anyway, and I believe it could help others. So what drew me to the world of self-development, I think, is that a large part of it is discovering why you are the way that you are on a quest to grow and get better. Now, that's a massive question as to why anyone is fully the way they are. A large part of that is probably going to remain unanswered. But I think it's a valuable pursuit to try and find out why that is the case. There's a quote which I absolutely love, which says, "The capacity in which a person can grow is directly correlated by how much they can accept about themselves without running away." And it really does force you to be introspective. It forced me to, because I was at my wit's end with gambling, and I knew that I couldn't necessarily turn the cravings or the urges off just like a tap. But there was something to be said for going on the offense of trying to figure out maybe what drew me to the addiction, where that's come from based on the way I see the world, what's happened to me in the past, maybe some worldviews that I have, maybe how I value things. There was a crossover for me in the sense that I am diagnosed with ADHD, and ADHD can be described in a number of different ways, but I like it best as it's a very kind of polarizing value system. So what you like, you really like, and what you don't like, you really don't like. So there was obviously certain feelings and endorphins and brain chemistry which is the nature of all addiction. But it kind of led me to thinking that is a futile pursuit to try to get that feeling, to get that escapism. Whatever it is I'm seeking through that is a game that I can't win. So what else do I enjoy? And can I go more in on, pardon the expression, more in on that way of thinking to try to lead a more balanced, better life? So for me, I realized things like physical exercise were very, very stimulating for my mind, left me with really good residual feelings of I was doing something that my future self would thank me for. So there was kind of that delayed gratification type positive sense, but also at the time it was kind of, I was blowing off steam, I was getting stress out the body, I was kind of getting a pump on with the muscles, and that was kind of very, very fulfilling and very stimulating in that moment. So that was a great one for me. Another thing was, when am I doing my best work? For me, that's kind of when my mind's quiet. That's when I'm in a flow state coaching one of my clients, or I'm doing something that is really expressive. I've done improv comedy in the past and things like that. So it's things that kind of take me out of my head and into that kind of that flow and into that kind of expressive nature of being my true self and not feeling hugely stifled. So that was kind of like a real learn for me. And that might not be the case for you, but I think it's really important to kind of look at what you feel like the addiction is giving you. And that might not be what you think it is, because it's giving you something for sure. And then you can kind of sit with that and you can peel back almost like the layers of the onion and dissect it further and realize what that is doing for you and how you can change that. If there's certain things that naturally your personality is drawn to, how can you get those in other places? It might be motocross racing or skydiving or something, bungee jumping, that's really kind of exhilarating. but there'll probably almost certainly be something that you can use, the feeling, like the fuel that the addiction wants to kind of use, that energy channeled elsewhere. And I think that's really, really powerful in recovery, because I think for a lot of people, it is like a drive, the addiction, and they notice that when that's not there. And of course, it's destructive and it's self-sabotaging, and it can potentially be completely life-altering and ruining. But at the same time, sometimes a charge is better than no charge for some people, especially people with maybe more neurodivergent personality types such as myself. And there's a lot of crossover there. So between ADHD and addiction. So I'm kind of going all over the place, as I so often do. But when you know yourself a little bit better, you can make sure that you take the action that's a bit more aligned with your behaviors and more aligned behaviors with your values. You can think about maybe what your goals are. You can peel back from kind of the madness and the fog and the chaos of the addiction and think about how you can map out a life that you will get more stimulation, joy, fulfillment, happiness than you ever will in the cycle and the rat race of addiction. So it can be difficult, because sometimes it forces you to look at certain defects of character that you might have, to go back a layer as to where that come from, to go back even a layer to maybe where you've played a part in maybe something you've done or the way you think is kind of flawed. And it's a never-ending journey, I guess, of self-development and personal development. But the more introspective you can be and the more self-aware you can be, the more you can kind of know yourself. And there's a real strength in that, in terms of life getting better instantaneously, in terms of maybe a bit more of an understanding, but also more importantly, in my opinion, for the future and how your life is going forward. Because then that gives you a basis to act on how you feel like you're going to be best served going forward, and not what you don't want to do, which, however deep you are into, I use gambling addiction because that is my challenge and that is what I'm in recovery from. But I like the idea of this channel being blanket as addiction being used. Insert your addiction here, which I know sounds disrespectful in some ways, because they are each incredibly potent and cunning and baffling in their own right. But I do believe some of these kind of mindsets and mental models can really be helpful for all addictions, even though it's just gambling addiction that I am in recovery for and have experience with. So I hope that helps. I like the idea of this channel just taking me off in different directions, maybe some content and topic themes that I don't see spoken about very often. Because I believe this is kind of some of the information that if I'd have found this years ago would have been very, very helpful for me, and hopefully will be helpful for someone out there watching who is struggling with what I struggled with. So look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please like and share this with someone that you might feel relevant with, and support the channel in whichever way you can. And I'll see you in the next video very soon.